Lightning strikes can be as powerful as 1 billion volts. It can strike anywhere, anytime, and is not controllable, but that is not the case with the energy sources you work with. These various forms of energy sources can be controlled. Potential, the stored energy in anything that can fall or drop. Electrical, the energy in power transmission lines, batteries, and capacitors. Mechanical, the energy in turning shafts, gears, springs, and flywheels. Hydraulic, energy of fluid under pressure in pistons, motors, and accumulators. Pneumatic, energy of air under pressure in tanks, lines, and pistons. Flowing steam in pipelines and storage drums. Chemical, energy of flowing liquid and trapped gas. Radiation, released energy from different sources. All these hazardous sources of energy are covered by Vedanta's isolation standard. It provides guidelines to protect employees from unexpected startup or release of energy that could harm a worker performing service or maintenance. So where all does it apply? This standard applies to all business units and managed operations. Who all are involved? Your number one isolation resource is the isolation officer. An isolation officer must be designated to carry out any isolation procedure for equipment, plant, or section of plant. He must be trained, assessed, and authorized by the relevant business unit for each specific piece of equipment or plant. The isolation officer must apply a lock and tag to the isolation points of all energy sources and ensure safe start, stop, and execution before any work begins. The isolation officer lock and ID tag must be the first applied and the last removed and must be a master series lock to allow handling over the next shift or another isolation officer. Where only one person is to complete the job in a single shift, that person must be an isolation officer and apply their personal lock and tag. After locking and tagging, he must clear the area for trial to ensure a zero energy state is achieved and verified. Finally, the isolation officer shall ensure appropriate controls are applied to the live work area. This includes preventing unauthorized access. The isolation officer is the expert, but everyone has responsibilities regarding isolation. What are those responsibilities? If you are performing work on a plant, equipment, or system, you must apply a personal lock and ID tag. Personal locks may only be locked or unlocked by their owners. What is the process? There are a few steps to achieve proper isolation. First, prepare for isolation by obtaining a written procedure identifying all energy sources, number of locks, isolation devices, communications with operators and other persons, and how to de-energize the plant or machine. Second, isolate all the energy sources, such as draining or blocking and bleeding pipes and valves, isolating the electricity, etc. The requirement is to isolate residual energies and achieve a zero energy state. Next is to secure each isolation device with locks and tags. Finally, after completing the task, inspect the job area and restore normalcy by removing isolation. If work is required on live equipment, this must be under a strict, written procedure. Should work continue across shifts or involving large numbers of people, a project isolation procedure may be implemented. All persons working on the project should use personal locks. Isolation officer's control lock must be in place. All personal locks must be removed before the control lock can be removed. For further details on isolation, refer to Vedanta Guidance Notes, Business Unit Isolation Manuals, Procedure, and Local Laws. And remember, you must adhere to 100% of the standard 100% of the time.